In a job that's already stressful, this shutdown has put way more stress on our controllers. We're tracking sick calls, sick leave, and have we had a slight tick up in sick calls? Yes. And then you'll see delays that come from that.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy issuing that warning just hours before Hollywood Burbank Airport was forced to operate without any air traffic controllers for hours yesterday, causing dozens of delays.
So across the country, more than 13,000 air traffic controllers are working without pay.
So Secretary of Transportation and NASA, Sean Duffy joins us now. Mr. Secretary, I mean, this is one of these jobs that I know you knew was going to be tough, but between the modernization of the equipment and then here we are shut down 5 days in, and it seems air traffic controllers are already too stressed to come to work?
So, well, they work 6 days a week, right? So we don't have enough controllers, so they have to work overtime. And they're family people, right? This is their living. They're concerned now if they don't get their paychecks, how do I pay my mortgage? How do I pay my car payment? What do I do to put food on the kids' table? So the controllers yesterday were saying, we actually have to think about working 6 days a week, and then do I go out and take an Uber job and try to make extra money to put the food on the table? All because Chuck Schumer is trying to have this political fight instead of saying, let's do a clean CR, let's open the government up, let's have a conversation about what Democrats want to talk about, but do that over the course of the next several months. Don't shut it down and affect our airspace, our controllers. Again, it's a huge problem. And again, Burbank, 0 controllers came to work. I don't support that. They should come to work. They're supposed to come to work. But these are the
They didn't even miss a paycheck yet, so why aren't they coming to work? I mean, it's only been 6 days.
So, well, the paycheck, the pay cycle ended yesterday, right? Their paychecks come next week, and they see what's on the horizon, Brian. They're like, listen, do I see a resolution to the shutdown? I don't see it. So, guess what? I'm concerned about my own life, my own family, and what we do is say, again, I want people when they travel to get to where they're going. So if we don't have controllers, we're going to make sure the airspace is safe. So what we do is we'll slow traffic, we'll shut down traffic, and that's what you saw in Burbank. We saw, significant delays because controllers weren't there.
What's the shortage? What's the shortage of air traffic controllers?
About 2,000 right now. We're 2,000 short. So what we did is supercharge, get more controllers into the academy. And then when they get out of the academy, it takes them anywhere from a year to 2.5 years to get certified on the system. Well, there's a whole support staff that helps make that happen, Lawrence, and it's in Oklahoma City. But also when they get to their assigned tower, there's a support staff that helps train them up. And this is affecting their ability for new controllers to get trained. So it has a rippling effect at a time when we're trying to get more controllers in. This shutdown is making it more challenging.
How much do they get paid? Because this could be a plea. If you need a job, go to the academy. We need you.
These are actually pretty good jobs. Anywhere from 180 at the top end with overtime.
Wow.
In places like New York, you're pushing $400,000 a year.
Whoa.
So Gavin Newsom says this to you. Thanks, Donald Trump. Burbank Airport has 0 air traffic controllers from 4:15 to 10 p.m. today because of your government shutdown. I know you guys like to spar. Do you have an answer for him?
This guy's unbelievable. The bottom line is every Republican has voted to keep the government open. Actually, in the Senate, it was a bipartisan vote. It was Democrats that voted to shut down the government. And Gavin Newsom wants to blame Donald Trump, who had a clean CR. They're fighting over potential money going into Obamacare and health care subsidies that happen at the end of this year, right? The reason they're shutting it down today is because illegals aren't getting health benefits today because of what Donald Trump did in the big, beautiful bill. So, again, they're saying we care about what's going to happen at the end of the year, but they're shutting it down right now because they want illegals to get health care.
So another story we want to get you to react to is nearly half of drivers killed in crashes had THC in their blood, according to a new study. Now, it used to be, pretty libertarian. Just go out there, just be safe, do it in the privacy of your home. But this study is concerning. 42% tested positive for THC.
You moved from libertarian to now they're more conservative. Now we appreciate that.
Y'all did predict that as I grew older that I would change on this.
This is a serious story. So we had a lot of conversations in America about drunk driving, right? Find a designated driver. Don't drive drunk. Well, there's been this whole movement to liberalize the laws around marijuana and kind of celebrate marijuana. Marijuana is way better for you than alcohol. It's organic, and the problem is you drive with these drugs in your system, and your response time is way slower. You're endangering yourself, everyone in your car, and everyone on the road. And we have to do a way better job of talking about the risks of driving with THC in your system, tetrahydrocannabinols. But here's the problem. With alcohol, I can look at Brian, I can smell Brian if he's been drinking in the car. There's telltale signs, and then I can give him a breathalyzer.
Yeah.
Right, and then I can take a blood test later. It's hard with marijuana. We don't have the systems in place to tell if you were smoking marijuana before you got in the car. So the systems aren't there at a time when culture is pushing and celebrating the use of marijuana. We're not talking about the risks. We lose 42,000 people on the roads every year. But way too many.
So do you think that we should legalize it? That's where the president's thinking about changing its ranking, its schedule. I think it would be a huge mistake.
Listen, I understand.
He's getting a lot of pressure to do it.
I understand he's getting pressure. Listen, I've got 9 kids. I see what these drugs do. I'm not a supporter of legalizing it. And again, I was a prosecutor. We didn't send people to prison for a quarter-ounce bag or an eighth-ounce bag of marijuana. They got a city citation. They're not going to prison for this. But to legalize it and to say it's okay for our kids and our young people to smoke it, and it's good for them, and they get behind cars, it's dangerous, and listen, it's taking lives.
And it's addictive.
Something else that's
really addictive. And by the way, it's not the 1960s marijuana.
Right.
This is way more dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're lacing it with other materials that are incredibly dangerous.
We talked a lot about that accident in Florida, talking about dangerous drivers. The guy who did a U-turn in the middle of, I think, I-95. And killed a bunch of people in the minivan. Now you are working hard to make sure that illegal immigrants don't get these commercial driver's license.
It was shocking. States were giving commercial driver's license to people who were not in the country legally or beyond their date of their work permit. So contrary to the law, these people were getting licenses. They're supposed to be able to speak English. A lot of these drivers can't speak English.
How did they pass the test?
That's the question, right? Fraud and abuse, maybe some scams going on in these states. There's no way they could pass the test. They should have never got a license. And so what we've done is basically, put our rules out to the states to say, listen, we're going to pull your money back if you don't start to follow the law. And if you don't do that, we're going to revoke your ability to actually issue commercial driver's licenses. But this is affecting American drivers. We have the Americans who have been in the trucking industry for 50 years, their family business. They can't do business anymore because you have these illegals coming in, living out of their trucks. They got teams of drivers. They're not safe. They can't speak the language.
And they come in underpriced, and they undercut.
Way underpriced.
Yeah. And they undercut. So, by the way, these are the states that halted the CDLs for illegal immigrant drivers. You got California, Oregon, Colorado, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Texas, Washington, and Missouri. You're happy about that,
So
right?
all of these states have taken significant action. California was the worst offender, and they're actually starting to move in the right direction. Again, I want Americans driving our trucks.
So it was worse than you thought. Well, when you first started diving into this is worse than you thought.
It was an epidemic. Illegals were driving trucks. And again, it's important. We saw during COVID how important our truckers are. But you can't bring in illegals and have them operate on the road.
Why only 8 states? Why only 8 states? Why not South Carolina or Florida?
This is the start, right? So Florida was problematic, but we're looking at all the states right now. But yeah, you get a license, Lawrence, in California. That doesn't mean you stay with your CDL in California. You can drive anywhere in the country.
Sean, my dad's a truck driver. He's been telling me about this for years. But shouldn't the punishment be more severe? If you're putting someone on the road and you know they didn't pass that test, and your son, someone dies, you're a former prosecutor. They should be held criminally liable for that.
But am I going to prosecute Gavin Newsom for not following the law?
Of course. Of course. If people die.
Listen, I hear you. But what we have to do is make sure the states comply with our laws at the federal government when you issue these. But these people were driving school buses. You can't speak the language. You probably didn't pass the skills test, and you're not here legally, and you're driving our kids to school. That's the insanity in some of these liberal states. But I was surprised. You got Texas. You had the Dakotas. Conservative states were doing this as well. But they've all said, we're not going to issue these licenses anymore. We're done.
I just got to end where we started. There were delays in Denver, New York, Los Angeles, obviously in Newark, and in Hollywood, as you know, in Burbank. Is this going to get worse?
Listen, I hope not. I want our controllers to go to work. That's their job. They're important jobs. Eventually, they're going to get paid. But we got to be honest. They're humans, and they're under pressure. And I do think this can have a rippling effect. And again, then you see more delays in the system. But again, Democrats can fix this. Open up the government.
Got you. Mr. Secretary, it's hard to see a guy with more taxed and doing a better job than you in Washington.
appreciate that.
Thanks so much for
Thank you
everything.
so much, Mr. Secretary.
While you're modernizing all our equipment in air traffic
And taking
control.
care of 9 children.
That's right.
Or Rachel does.
And getting us to the moon. I'm not kidding. And by the way, got reports? We did go to the moon in the 60s.
We did.
Thank you.
Confirmed.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.